World leaders have one thing in common. They wield a lot of power, with the responsibility of governing large populations, controlling economies, and leading national militaries. It's understandable that it's in a country's best interest to provide their first citizen with the best security available. Many presidents, world leaders, and heads of state are constantly surrounded by jaw-dropping security details. But some have been more heavily guarded than others throughout history. Here are some of the most heavily guarded rulers of all time. Number 8. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of Turkey. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey's 12th and current president, is known for making powerful enemies. Having climbed from mayorhood to the presidency, Erdogan has something to say about everybody, but he knows he will be protected by his expensive security detail. When he's on the go, an extensive 60-man bodyguard team surrounds him with at least 100 snipers positioned around him. These snipers are well trained and can notice if someone's muscles move wrong, and if they do, that person will most likely get hit just in case they meant to cause harm to the president. On higher 3 days, the number of snipers increases to 3,000. President Erdogan's security detail is excessive to the highest level. A security convoy of up to 12 luxury cars escorts the president when his elite security team filling them. However, they are not hesitant to cross anyone in order to achieve their sole goal of keeping everyone safe. This played out once again when Erdogan's security team clashed with Bosnia's border police because they refused to hand over their weapons. Erdogan's security team is as well armed and deadly as they are zealous. They use weapons like the Turkish-made Yavuz 16 weapons and the MPT-76, which has an effective range of up to 600 meters and is capable of firing 600 rounds per minute at a muzzle velocity of 800 meters per second. With all this firepower, Erdogan's security is capable of taking down a small army. It is worth noting that Erdogan's security detail has caused multiple international incidents, such as beating up American citizens, including women and children, US Secret Service agents, and other security officers during a protest against him. Number 7. Narendra Damodar Das Modi, Prime Minister of India. Despite being a developing country, India is doing better than many might expect. In fact, the country's current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, spends a staggering $48 million every year on his security. This is around 10% more than in previous years. Modi is protected by the Special Protection Group, SPG, a special operations force, whose sole objective is to provide close protection to the Prime Minister and his family. Modi has over 3,000 well-trained bodyguards, who use hundreds of vehicles, helicopters, drones, planes, and motorbikes to keep him safe. The SPG agents assigned to Modi's security detail typically wear black Western-style formal business suits with dark sunglasses and then a two-way encrypted communication earpiece. They are typically armed with concealed handguns, but they can carry ultra-modern assault rifles on rare occasions. For traditional events, they may wear safari suits to blend in. Modi's security detail also includes sophisticated vehicles, such as customized armored variants of the standard 2015 BMW 760Li long-wheelbase sedan, Mercedes-Maybach 650 guards, armored BMW 7 Series sedans, armored Range Rovers, BMW X5s, Toyota Fortuners, Land Cruisers, and Mercedes-Benz Sprinter ambulances. A Tata Safari electronic countermeasures car accompanies the convoy to counter guided and radio attacks. The vehicles that carry Modi and his entourage are certified with VR7 in the BRV 2009 ballistics protection ratings and can defend their occupants from anything ranging from landmine blasts to machine gun fire. The vehicles also feature undercarriage armor, 3-inch thick multi-layer laminated glass, and armor plating on the doors, roof, body pillars, front footwell, and rear bulkhead. They are fitted with round flat tires that can run deflated for kilometers and advanced heat sensors to ward off missiles and bombs. The fuel tanks are sealed with Kevlar to prevent explosions, and the interiors of some vehicles are gas-proof chambers that can ensure fresh oxygen supply to occupants in cases of chemical or biological attacks. Other special features in Modi's vehicle include an intercom system, an alarm system, a fire extinguisher with a temperature sensor, irritant gas sensors to warn of dangerous gases in the passenger area, and compartments to carry 2 machine guns in the center console. When Modi travels, several roads are fully blocked for hours to let his massive convoy through. His convoy includes many escort vehicles, all serving a necessary function. Number 6. Mamadi Dumbuya, interim military president of Guinea. Alpha Condé, the former president of Guinea, would likely have appeared on this list if not for the fact that his well-trained security personnel could not stop the coup d'etat that took him out of power. After his overthrow, Mamadi Dumbuya, a lieutenant colonel in the army, became the country's interim president. In a shocking turn of events, it turns out that President Dumbuya was personally groomed by the previous president to become the head of the Special Forces Group, an elite military unit created by Condé himself. Before Condé was ousted, he made efforts to revamp the military. His plan for a deadlier and better trained security force had an estimated budget of about $119 million in 2005, which was 2.9% of the country's GDP. Although the 2006 defense budget was much less, at an estimated $30 million, a lot of money was still spent on the military. Condé got the military back to their barracks, redeployed some battalions to their territory, and retired some 4,000 soldiers. He increased budgets, intensified the administration's militarization, and became more demanding when it came to recruitment. The creation of the Special Forces, an elite battalion that was financed directly by the presidency, was a response to Condé's need to strengthen and professionalize his army, and also received the blessing of foreign partners who believed that this unit would be able to fight drug trafficking and terrorism. Unfortunately for Condé, he was unknowingly putting his things in motion for his own downfall. A member of the former government team confirmed that Alpha Condé created an extremely well-armed monster, the team of about 100 qualified and well-trained soldiers, including Colonel Dumbuya, who led the Special Forces unit, had been training abroad since 2010 and were privy to intense American special OPS exercises. It was this same team that helped Dumbuya overthrow Condé and take over as president. To this day, the team members remain loyal to the military ruler and are in charge of his safety. They protect him against potential threats like supporters of the previous regime. Like most of the military that Condé so generously founded, Dumbuya's Special Forces Group is fully armed with tactical armor, towed artillery, anti-tank artillery, rocket launchers, air defense guns, and missiles. They are well versed in reconnaissance and have attack helicopters at their disposal. The military unit is, as we have found out, well trained and well equipped for their duties, and their most important duty right now is keeping interim president Mamadi Dumbuya safe, making him one of the most safeguarded presidents in history. Number 5. Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, is one of the world's most influential people. As the leader of one of the largest oil exporters in the world, he places a high priority on his safety and security. With a net worth estimated to be over $13 billion, he has the resources to maintain a top-notch security detail. However, the prince faces a number of potential threats, including his alleged involvement in the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. To protect himself, Prince Mohammed bin Salman took control of all of Saudi Arabia's military and security agencies and united them under a new body called the Presidency of State Security. He also implemented reforms in several security agencies across the country, replacing key leaders with officials who answer only to him. Thanks to these moves, the Crown Prince has a strong security detail made up of highly trained soldiers and a cybersecurity team. The detail continues to grow and expand annually, with the prince spending over $20 billion in 2019 to modernize the country's military equipment. With both the equipment and expertise needed to do their job diligently, those tasked with protecting Prince Mohammed bin Salman are well equipped to handle any threats that may arise. Number 4. Xi Jinping, President of China, is one of the most guarded leaders in the world. As the leader of a global superpower, it makes sense that the country and its citizens go to extreme lengths to ensure his safety. The Central Security Bureau and the chief organization responsible for protecting China's head and powerful leaders. The bureau controls the Central Guard Regiment, a deadly unit of bodyguards trained by the People's Liberation Army of China, which has guarded all past Chinese leaders and their families. However, Xi Jinping's security demands the most from the unit. The brigade tasked with protecting the president consists of 3 regiments, with each responsible for different aspects of his safety. The total strength of the unit is over 8,000 men, organized into 7 groups with 36 squadrons. Each subgroup an individual has a unique mission pertaining to the protection of the president. During Xi Jinping's visit to Hong Kong for its 25th anniversary of returning to Chinese rule on June 30th last year, there was an unprecedented level of security. The Chinese ruler was escorted by elite officers from the VIP section unit, formerly known as G4, along with his personal bodyguards from the Central Security Bureau. They were all armed and equipped with lightweight ballistic briefcases that could convert into fold-out bulletproof shields or blankets to provide protective coverage within seconds. Some members of the security detail are also carried machine guns, disguised as briefcases to take immediate action in case of danger. The president was moved around in a bulletproof 4-door Hongqi sedan, a luxury Chinese car that has been used by Communist Party leaders since Mao Zedong. The motorcade had about 50 police vehicles, and each vehicle was present whenever Xi Jinping had to move. A government helicopter also provided aerial protection against airborne attackers. All traffic lights were blocked to prevent the motorcade from making any stops and becoming targets. While the level of security seems extreme, it ensures that the president of China never has to look over his shoulder and fear for his safety. Number 3. Kim Jong Un, supreme leader of North Korea, has had no shortage of enemies since he became head of state. His power is not that of democratic rule, and he is an unapologetic dictator with an iron grip on North Korea. His unpopular reign makes his opposition inevitable, but with his insane security, any opposition will have their work cut out for them. Kim Jong Un is protected by a security team that can easily be mistaken for an elite military special ops division when he is moving by road. His presidential car is always flanked by a team of sharply dressed bodyguards. The guards have to be extremely fit because sometimes their job requires them to jog alongside Kim Jong's car. No matter how long the drive is, the runner bodyguards are part of the Central Party office, an elite team of bodyguards that is not easy to get into. Prospective candidates have to meet the height requirement to be considered for a spot in the large team that safeguards the most important person in the country. Other distinct features must be met, but it is a given that each guard is tested in the more important skills like marksmanship and martial arts. The chosen candidates need to be able to protect the head of the state in the most dire situations, and this is probably when they have to take tests that are believed to be similar to the one Secret Services operatives are given before being placed on the presidential detail. Aspiring members of Kim Jong-un's security detail are also subjected to an intensive background check that scrutinizes even the last 2 generations of their family trees to ensure that they have no conflict of interest or potential weakness that a blackmailer might take advantage of. Aside from his personal bodyguards, a whole unit of the North Korean army is also devoted to protecting the head of state. Members of the army go where they are told without question and do not have the luxury of refusing orders. They can and will do anything to ensure the safety of Kim Jong-un. North Korea's presidential security system comprises one of the most complex military teams in the world, with a staff of over 100,000 members, and they all have the single duty of protecting one man, officially known as the Supreme Guard Command and overseen by General Jong Un. The command is based in Pyongyang, near Kim Jong-un's headquarters, but they have camps all around the country. The unit has access to another 100,000 soldiers in case of a serious attack on Kim Jong-un. These standby members are trained to move him to a secure location quickly and deploy armored vehicles to keep him safe. The members of the elite security group high up in the command chain, have access to classified information needed to keep their charge safe. This information includes the location of hidden bunkers built to shelter and protect the dictator from any attack. Having 100,000 people to protect one man seems like overkill, especially since the vast majority of them are chosen as teenagers and are put through years of intensive training with only one priority: keeping King Jong Un safe. Number 2. Donald Trump, President of the United States. There was never any doubt about Donald Trump making this list, and of course, he ranks this high because of reasons that will soon be obvious. For starters, the one-time president was not only the leader of one of the most powerful countries in the world, but he was also a billionaire with hundreds of businesses all over the world. Trump's political position, personal wealth, and love for security make up the reasons why the billionaire president's term in office broke a record with his security expenses. How big a record, you ask? Well, while the protection of the previous president, Barack Obama, and his family cost the country about $16 million a year, Trump's time in office raised the bar to a staggering $29 million. That alone was enough to break some records, but it gets even more astonishing. In 2017, the US Congress budgeted a whopping $120 million for the protection of Donald Trump and his family. Now you are probably wondering just how Trump managed to spend $120 million on security, and you are about to find out. To begin with, the elite Secret Service in charge of protecting the then president had more than 7,000 elements, like the different units and personnel, all perfectly coordinated and ready for any situation that might have threatened the life of Trump. Of course, these elements did not come cheap, hence the overwhelming protection. The significant part of the protection fees was spent on the Beast, not a beast. The Beast has been referred to as the safest limousine in the world, and I couldn't agree more. The limo comes with 5-inch thick armor plating, 5 layers of bulletproof glass, 8-inch thick doors that vacuum seal the interior just in case of any chemical attack, heavy heating guns, Kevlar tires, and steel rims that can drive with full function even if the tires are popped. The Beast's fuel tank is well insulated so that it cannot explode or leak, and the interior has its own oxygen tank just in case of a chemical emergency. In the trunk of this magnificent car is a firefighting system, tear gas and smokescreen systems, a full medical kit, and bags of the president's blood type, just in case he needs a transfusion. With all these, Trump still had a lifeline that is direct, secure line to the vice president and the Pentagon. Regardless of where he is headed, the presidential motorcade always consists of more than 30 vehicles a trip, and you will most likely not find a grander entourage. At the head of this entire motorcade, there are usually a few normal police cars or bikes from the local area, tasked with clearing the air and making sure the coast is clear. Right behind the police cars and bikes are the pilot cars that clear the way in the area. They are usually located directly in front of the president's vehicle, and they act as a buffer between the outside world and the little safe bubble that the president exists in. The lead cars are the next in the convoy, and they comprise of the Beast and its replicas. Usually, there are just 2 lead cars, named the authentic Beast and a replica, but there is no limit to the number of lead cars the president needs. Donald Trump developed the strategy of adding replicas of the Beast to his convoy to serve 2 purposes: to throw off any potential attackers and to transport any other VIPs that the president may have. Next in line is a halfback that rides behind the president and carries his security detail. If there is only one halfback, which there rarely is, then it is probably chock-full with the cat, the counter-assault team. These guys are the main security detail that travels behind the president, and it is their duty to contain any situation. If the motorcade is ambushed, riding behind them is a van called a watchtower that has little antennas on the top to disable any sort of electronic devices from going off. Along with that is an ID car to identify any threats and communicate with other members of the motorcade, especially the vehicles at the head of the convoy, and the pilot vehicles to make sure no threats lie ahead. Riding right behind the ID car is a hazard mitigation unit that looks like a black ambulance, and it is fully equipped to deal with any sort of biological hazards. It more or less functions as a road runner that creates a secure network between everyone in the motorcade and the outside world. Of course, there is also an ambulance that rides in the back of the motorcade, ready to assist in any sort of medical emergency, prioritizing the president, obviously. At the far end of the convoy sits the rear guard that protects the back of the motorcade. The entire entourage travels with the president everywhere he goes, whether it's a launch date or a trip to a foreign country. Aside from the vehicles and his entourage, there are a ton of other vehicles and aircraft used solely for Trump security, like Air Force One, which he rode guarded by two F-35 combat forces, the Marine One and the Ground Force One. Other units involved one way or another in protecting the US #1 citizen include canine units, emergency response teams, snipers, motorized units, and special operations teams that carry out orders for the sake of the president's safety. Number 1. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia. Russia may very well be the most disliked country in the world right now, one of the most powerful, definitely, but also the most disliked, especially with the whole Ukraine situation. With that in mind, it is easy to see that Russia's head of state, Vladimir Putin, is a powerful man with a very big and attractive target on his back. This is why the former KGB agent, who has been in power since the year 2000, is beyond obsessed with his security and health, and he takes extra measures to tend to it. Above, President Putin is always on guard against assassins in the shadows, and it's not just a thing of paranoia, especially when you think about the one. A US senator publicly called for anybody in Russia to take him out. And no, he did not mean to dinner. For somebody in Russia to take this guy out, you would be doing your country a great service and the world of great service. Looking at the man he is and all that he has done, it does not come as much as of shock that the Russian president's security detail is the best of the best at what they do. The first line of defense between Putin and any potential threats are his bodyguards, who call themselves his musketeers. The musketeers make up a special unit within Russia's Federal Protective Service, or the FSO for short. Not much is known about his elite squad, and the little that is known comes from a website called Beyond Russia. The information available states that bodyguards are handpicked for qualities like operational psychology, extreme physical stamina, and of course, the ability to withstand the country's cold and not sweat and the heat of battle. Unarmed, the musketeers are very dangerous men, but that hardly matters, seeing as how they are equipped with Russian-made 9mm SR-1 Vector pistols with armor-piercing rounds. The squad also carries special briefcases that serve as shields to protect their charge from any attack at close range. Before Russia's #1 citizen embarks on any journeys, advanced teams are sent out to scout his destinations months ahead of schedule, to fish out the safest roads. Wherever he stays also gets inspected. Through jamming devices are installed to prevent any sort of remote bomb detonation, and the technicians on his payroll constantly survey all cell phones and devices in the area. When Putin does get on the road, he rides amidst an imposing convoy of heavily armored vans inside. Some of the vans are military special operators armed with the anti-tank grenade launchers, portable anti-aircraft missiles, and other advanced weapons. Putin's obsession with security does not allow him to step out in public without having snipers perched around the perimeter, waiting for quickly snuff out any threat at any time. The FSO is reported to have a wide-ranging authority, one that enables them to eavesdrop on private conversations, access private mail, search homes, seize vehicles, and detain and interrogate any suspect, all to ensure Putin's protection. When the musketeers are replaced no later than the age of 35, they are mostly rewarded with important and powerful new positions like regional governors, federal ministers, special services commanders, and presidential administrators. That is how powerful the president's protectors are and can get. Oh, and if President Putin was ever to get into any life-threatening danger, his security detail is willing to employ presidential body double to distract any unforeseen enemy, probably take some potential bullets for the body #1 and ensure his safety. And that is all matters. It is also standard procedure for Putin's team to employ someone to sample every meal he is served to ensure he is not poisoned. According to an organization whose members cook for heads of states and monarchs, called the club the Chefs to Chefs. The reports seem to be pretty accurate. Shield Brigade, a well-known chef, once told the Telegraph years ago that tasters still exist, but only in the Kremlin, where a doctor checks every dish with the chef. Taking into consideration the fact that Putin remains unarmed, it is safe to say that the members of his security detail take every measure to protect those in charge, and so far, they have excelled at that. Wealth and power truly do create a lot of crazy situations. Find out more crazy ones in the video on your screen right now.